9.3, the quadratic formula. There is something you're used to. Y squared minus 10y plus 22 equals 0. You know how to do those, right? You guys already know how to do y squared equations. We've done a bunch of those. Go ahead and just do it. You don't need me to say something. Go ahead and solve that one. So you're factoring it, right? Parentheses. Right, that's what we do right here. So parentheses, y is in the front. What numbers multiply to be 22? Add to be minus 10. What times what's 22? What's that? 2 times 11. Does that make negative 10 in the middle? But what other options are there other than 2 times 11? 1 and 22. Does that make negative 10? What's up? This one doesn't factor. Right? This thing's not factorable. How are we going to solve that then? The quadratic formula. Yeah, I wanted to show you why we have something new here, why we're doing this new section called the quadratic formula, because sometimes they don't factor. They don't factor. So it doesn't factor. Real life, and they're building bridges and doing engineering and architecture and science with this mathematics, they almost never factor. They were just making life nice for us, giving us a bunch of ones that have factored up to now. Real life, they almost never factor. So you have to do something other than factoring. Have you guys seen the quadratic formula before? So I'm going to have to use the quadratic formula. Let me write it out for you. It's negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. It's called the quadratic formula. And it's what you do when they won't factor. Yeah, what do you think? So that formula has some funny stuff. What do you think the A, B, and C are in the formula? What do you think they're referring to? What's A, do you think? A is the 1. It's the number in front. It's not the y's, it's just the numbers in front. B is the negative 10, and C is the 22. Does that make sense? The A, B, C are the numbers in front. They're not the y squared, but the number in front of y squared. It's not the y, but the number in front of y. And then the C is the last number. So the A, B, and C are just numbers. They're numbers that are in front of the letters. You just peel them off the letters. That's the A, B, and C. And then you just toss them into the quadratic formula. And all kinds of wonderful things happen. Answers come out. So plug them in. Now notice the formula has negative whatever B is. And what is B? B is itself negative 10. Right? When I put this in right here. Remember, you always put parentheses around stuff you're plugging into formulas, right? So we get negative 10, which is positive 10. Right? Everybody with me? Am I losing you? Plus or minus square root, and then we go b squared, so negative 10 squared, minus 4 times a is 1, times c is 22 all over 2 times A again is 1. Is that good? See how I plugged everything in? Plugged in the A and the B and the C, which are just the numbers in front of the letters. Plug them into the quadratic formula. So you're just going to write this quadratic formula on your full sheet of notes for the final tomorrow. And you use it whenever things won't factor. So if it won't factor, you do the quadratic formula. When you're solving an x squared, I mean. Right? So it's solving x squared when it will not factor. So that's the deal. It's how to handle an x squared when it will not factor. It's what you do in that event. Okay, let's keep going. Let's break it out. So right out here, negative 10. You know that's positive 10. Plus or minus. I'll explain the plus or minus thing in a bit. Square root of. Now, what's negative 10 squared? Yeah, because that means negative 10 times negative 10, right? That's two of them. Two negatives make a positive 100 right there. Is that good? Negative 10 squared. Negative 10 times negative 10. Positive 100. Minus 4. You choose calculator. 4 times 1 times 22 be 88. All over 2 times 1, 2. By the way, notice my bar. All the way. Right? The bar is not just under the root part. Everybody see that? That bar goes all the way. In other words, both things, both the 10 in the front and the root thing are over the denominator. It's one big bar, one huge fraction. Goes all the way across. So keep going. 10 plus or minus, that's root of 12 over 2. 100 minus 88. We're almost there. What do you do with root of 12? Can we simplify root of 12? Yeah, what's the root of 12? I do it over here maybe. Root of 12, break it down. 4 times 3, 2 times 2. So 2 2s. So it's a 2 on the outside and a 3 left on the inside. We good there? You break down that root 12, right? 4 times 3, 2, 2, 3. Twins, 2 2s in, 1 2 out. That 3 is left over inside. We good to there? Good so far? One more step. What do you do? Can I cancel these 2's? Some say yes, some say no. What does Costco say? Right, plus or minus, remember? Glued together. Pluses and minuses glue things, which means you can buy them if you buy them all, right? So in other words, it's okay as long as I also do the 10. That's okay, because I'm buying both sides of the package. So that's what we do. That's what's right. You can't do just one, right? Costco's in business to sell stuff. They will sell you stuff if you buy the whole package. But you can't just buy one, right? That's what plus and minus do. Is everybody getting more and more comfortable with that plus or minus stuff in fractions, right? Glues things together. I mean, if you buy both sides, that's okay. So in other words, if like this was a 9 here in the front, 2 doesn't go into 9, then I couldn't do anything. I couldn't cancel the 2's. It's either both or nothing. So if only one of them can go, you can't do it. You can't do anything. You would just stop right there. That would be your final answer. If that was a 9 plus or minus, I would just stop. Don't cancel anything. Does that make sense? It's both or nothing. It's all or nothing with glue. With pluses or minuses, they glue things, right? All right, so what do we got left there? What's the final answer? I'm trying to, is there room to write it? It's 5 plus or minus root 3. Huh? Because, the 1 times root 3 is just root 3. So it's 5 plus or minus root 3. Those are actually two. The plus or minus just means, it means two it's shorthand notation. I don't know where to write it. I'm running out of room. I could come up here and write it. It's shorthand notation, it means 5 plus root 3, comma, 5 minus root 3. That's what it means. It means both options. But you don't have to, this is fine, you just leave it this way. I'm just letting you know what the plus or minus in the middle there actually means. It means two different options. It's shorthand notation for two options, two answers. 5 plus root 3 and 5 minus root 3 are the two answers to the question. Is that good? Does that make sense? We okay with the quadratic formula? How that works? So when they don't factor, you write down the quadratic formula, the negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Plug in the ABC, crank it all out. 5 plus or minus root 3. Some ways it's easier than factoring. I don't know, depends how hard the factoring is. Is that good? Let me show you how to enter that. If you all got that copied down in Math Excel, they have a plus or minus button for you. So it's 5 plus or minus root 3. Let's try this one. So x squared plus 3x plus 3. So I'm going to, what number is that? Number 8? I'm going to move it here. Number 8, it's x squared plus, what was it? 3x plus 3 equals 5. 3x plus 3 equals 5. All right, try that one. What's the first step on an x squared problem? That hasn't changed. What's the first thing we do? Get a 0. Exactly. Right? Got to make that right side become 0. Right, so that's the first step. Doesn't factor, right? So use the quad, right? The quadratic formula. Your new best friend. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. All right, so plug in the ABC. What's the A?
1.
A is 1, right? A is the 1, B is the 3, C is the negative 2, right? So plug those in, A, B, and C, to the quadratic formula. Because that one doesn't, but you might think that one factors, it doesn't. The signs don't work out. You can fiddle with it if you want. It's not going to work. Is that good like that? That's 9. Hey, count the negatives here. See how these back three things that are multiplying? Just count the negatives. 2 negatives, going to be positive, right? Going to be positive. 4 times 1 is 4 times 2 is 8. Everybody see I got positive in there? So just count the number of negative signs. And those back three under the square root that are multiplying, just count the minus signs. If you got 2 minus signs, it's going to be plus. And then multiply the numbers. 4 times 1 is 4, times 2 is 8. So 9 plus 8, going to be 17 under there, huh? Negative 3 plus or minus root 17 over 2. And really, we're just done right there. There's nothing more we can do. 17, you can't do anything with the root. It's not like a root 12 where you can break it down with pairs and do the 2-for-1 ship out. We can't do that. 17's just 17. That's that. So there we go. Does that make sense on that? What's that? Yeah, if there's negative inside the root, that's no solution. Yeah, because you can't have negative in the root. Wrecks the whole thing. So no solution. Yeah, there's probably one of those in this section. Questions on that one? Is that good? We okay? Ready for another? Can I move ahead? Okay. Try that one. 3x squared equals 5x plus, in fact, I'm going to move it to a fresh screen. Was it number 13? Okay. 13. 3x squared equals 5x plus 7? Yeah, 5x plus 7. 5x plus 7. Okay. Try that one. You know the first thing, right? What's the first thing you got to do? You got to get a 0, huh? So you got to jump those guys to the other side. So quadratic formula. So plug in the A is 3, the B is -5, and the C is -7. Plug in A, B, and C to the quadratic formula. So you got the double negative thing, right? Negative B, negative in the formula, along with -5, negative on the plug-in, two negatives, gonna be positive. Good so far, right? See how we got a positive 84 here because two negatives makes positive, right? Good, keep going. You're gonna get what, 109? Does that? I don't think that breaks down, does it? 5 plus or minus the root of 109 over 6. That's just it, right? I don't think nothing that I know of goes into 109. Do you? Does anything go into 109? Anybody try that? 2 doesn't go in, 3 doesn't go in. I know that much. 5 doesn't go in. 7? I doubt it. 7 times 14? No. 7 times 50? No. Nah. Nothing goes in. We're just done right there. Is that okay? We good to that point? That 109 cannot be broken down. How we doing? Is that good? So I'm going to move on. Are you guys okay? I'm getting nothing. I don't know if you're okay. Can I get a yes or a no? Either one would be helpful. I would know whether I could move on or talk more about it. All right. Good. How about that? So here, I'm going to actually read. There's no room. I don't like when they rattle all right. So x squared, this is number 15. X squared over x plus 9. 15. X squared over x plus 9 minus, right? Minus, yeah. 3 over x plus 9 equals 0. Okay. Try that one. Never subtract. Never subtract. What do you do with that subtraction? So never subtract fractions, I should say. Never subtract fractions. What do you do with that subtraction symbol in the middle there? To the upper right, huh? Shoot that thing to the upper right, right? Right up there. So that's the first step. And then it just becomes adding because it's not there anymore. It's left. Just want to make sure you're good with that. So never subtract fractions. Distribute to the upper right. All right, take it from there now. You know what to do with fractions. An equal sign. Multiply through by the common denominator, x plus 9, all the way through, right? X plus 9, x plus 9, x plus 9, top, right? And then what we always do? Just one of them, not squared or anything like that, right? Remember, we're shopping. We're buying one of every item. That's what we do for LCD, one of every type. So just one, x plus 9, top. What happens on the right side? What's 0 times anything? 0. The right side's just 0. These sides just cancel. So it's just x squared minus 3 equals 0. Right? Did y'all see that coming? Now, how do you solve that? We good to there so far? We good? Get rid of the fractions. No more fractions. Fractions are over. How do we solve that now? You could do the quad. Yeah. You could go ahead and do the quadratic formula if you want. What's that? You could. There's another way to do it that way. Yeah. Why don't we just do the quad? We're doing the quad thing. Why don't we just do the quad? In fact, let me move this up and create more room here. So this will be x squared minus 3 0. Yeah. Let's do the quad. You know the quad. Negative b. Right, and what's the quad for? It's for any x squared equation. Maybe I should be saying that more clearly. Any x squared equation, negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over to it. This thing is for any x squared. So it'll solve any and all, every x squared equation. A quad will just handle it. So it'll solve any of them. So, what's the A, B, and C, though? What's the A?
1.
A is 1. No mystery there. What's the B? What's the C? What's that negative 3? Good. Right? Because the B is what's... Right? Normally it's like, if you had 7x squared plus 5x plus 3 or whatever, this would be A, this would be B, this would be C, right? So B is always the middle term. What's next to the regular x? I got no regular x. So here, let me move this minus sign onto the 3 there. That's C. B must be 0. B is missing. B is the one missing. C is the negative 3. Everybody see that? Right? Because B is the regular x one, right? A is x squared. B is regular x. C is the number at the back. That's the A, B, C. X squared x, no x. A, B, C. X squared x, no x. So it's the regular x that's missing. There's no x. B is 0. Does that make sense? C is negative 3. That negative 3 is C. We good? I always just keep saying it. I'm expecting some nodding or something. But you guys just give me a straight look all the time. So I just keep saying it again and again and again. I think you've got it. That's okay. I mean, that's your personality. That's okay. I'll try to not over talk it. All right. So B is 0. So plug everything in now. So B is going to be 0 as we crank out the problem. So we're going to get what? Negative 0 plus or minus the square root of 0 squared minus 4 times A is 1 times C, negative 3, all over 2 times A, 2 times 1. Everybody good there? Got a couple of zeros in the two B slots, right? What's negative 0? Yeah, it's just 0, right? It's the same as positive 0. It's 0. So we get 0 plus or minus the square root of 0. 0 squared is 0. Now, what's going to happen here? Two negatives plus 12, over 2. Everybody good there? All right. And then let's bring that up here. We can skip that 0 in the front. But you need the plus or minus, though. That still matters. So it's just plus or minus root 12 over 2. I don't need that 0 in the front. Don't need that 0 there. It's gone. But the signs are all still there. The plus or minus matters. Got to keep that. Everybody good to there? Everybody see what happened? Just got rid of the zeros, right? But all the signs remain. Okay. Now, we just did square root of 12 a minute ago, didn't we? Right. Yeah, we did, right? Well, what square root of 12 is? Right. I put a root on both sides of that x squared. Right? In fact, let me bring it down a line. So remember what the real answers are now. They're plus or minus 5. We know that's true. So if I come down here like this, and I put a root on both sides, and that's all I do, which seems so right. I'm only going to get 5. So we know that's not the whole story, because that's not the only answer. So how do you fix it? You put a plus or minus. Why? Because it's true. So we learn a lesson there. Now, I haven't really gone there. That's really the next class. That's why I really haven't mentioned it before, because we're really not having to. But if you want to know, that's the story. Really, when you put a root on both sides, really, you're supposed to put plus or minus. Now, you might say, Mr. Ryan, you told us earlier we were doing root on both sides. We do that. Yeah, it's because we're doing real life things that couldn't be negative, so I just didn't want to bother you with extra stuff. We're doing like widths of rectangles, and they can't be negative. So I didn't bring up the details of, hey, it's plus or minus, really, when you do the root. I just thought, who cares? Why bug them with extra stuff? But truly, if it's not, if it's something that can be negative, like temperatures or whatever, something in real life, my bank account, it's been negative before, something that can be negative, right? Then, yeah, technically it's supposed to be plus or minus. We can see that's just true, isn't it? It's just true. So all of that is to answer, that was a long answer I'm giving, to your question. Can't we solve this by just moving the 3 over? This is instead doing the whole quad thing. Yes. Move that 3 over, it's positive, right? And then what do you do with x squared equals 3? Root, I call it a roof sometimes, a root on both sides. And what do you have to do? You have to put plus or minus. We've seen that's just true. That's why the answers are really plus or minus root 3. So that's the whole story that I normally don't give to the next class, but that's really what's going on. Technically, you're supposed to put plus or minus. So yeah, you can do it that way. That'll work. As long as you remember when you put the root on, put plus or minus. It'll work every time.
Yeah.
That is a little quicker than doing the quad. All right. Maybe it was Mr. Aaron, we need to practice more fraction problems. That could be the truth, huh? So this is number 16, x plus 3 equals 3 over x plus 3. X plus 3 is 3 over x plus 3. Right? Yes, number 16. Okay, let's try that one. More fractions.
Why can't we cross cancel on this one?
Cross multiply, you mean?
Or
So do you mean like put this over 1 and go diagonal?
Yeah.
I love it. Do it. That's exactly what I would do. Yeah, totally. Totally good idea. Or you could have done the x plus 3, boom, but this is better. I think it's a better way to go.
But I'm saying, like, can't you just cross cancel x plus 3 on both sides?
Oh, good question. Cross canceling when you have times in the middle. We have equal in the middle, we cross multiply. Times in the middle, we cross cancel. So in other words, if this was x plus 3 times this multiplying a fraction. Yeah, everybody hearing that? It's a good question. When you're timesing, multiplying fractions, that's when you cross cancel. But when the fractions are equal, you cross multiply. See the difference? They're similar, huh? Both crossing, but different result. So many rules, huh? This doesn't come to the casual, does it? It comes to those who are committed to learning it. Which I hope is all of you, because you want a bachelor's degree and spend 40 years in a job you'll enjoy, instead of 40 years in a job you're forced to take because you don't have a bachelor's degree. Right? That's the reality. That's the reality. All right, so try that cross multiply. So cross multiply, FOIL that out. Times 3 is 3. Get to there. So what do we do when we have x squared?
Get 0.
Get a 0. It's always about getting a 0. Subtract 3 for both sides. Equals 0, like that. Now you could try to factor that, but it just won't factor. You can try it if you want to. It's not going to factor. It's quadratic formula time. So now you got to do the quad on that. The quadratic formula, which is able to solve every x squared equation. So A is 1, B is 6, C is 6. Plug them in. Right? Negative B plus or minus square root of B squared minus 4 times A times C. All over 2A. We good to there? Keep cranking, like my old physics teacher used to say. Just turn the crank. Just turn the crank. Crank out the numbers. 36 minus 24 is 2. Like that. We get to there, minus 6 plus or minus root 12 over 2. And we've done root 12 twice already this morning. We know root 12. It's 2 root 3. Right? Now, can we do more? Yeah, remember the rule? Costco. Right? You can cancel if you can buy them both. Well, we can do it. If this was a 5, negative 5, I couldn't do anything, right? Because it's got to be all or nothing. That 2 has to go into both of them or nothing. We can go into both, so we can do it, right? 2 goes into 6 3 times, 2 goes into 2 1 time. So if there was either one it could not go into, we would do nothing, because these are glued together, package deal, all or nothing, right? So we can do it. Negative 3 plus or minus root 3. There it is. Can you read that? You don't even need the 1. 1 times root 3 is just root 3. So it's negative 3 plus or minus root of 3 on that. Is that good? Questions on that? All good. So fractions, cross multiply, get an x squared equation. Can't factor it, the quad will handle it. All right, I'm going to leave that if you're okay. Number 18. Okay, number 18, x squared plus 6x minus 2. 18. X squared plus 6x minus 2. X squared plus 6x minus 2. Yes. Okay. So there, let's try that one. It's normal. At the very end, though, we're going to use our calculator and get a decimal. So just go ahead and do regular. At the very end, we're going to turn it into a decimal answer. They're asking for a decimal. You guys have your calculators with you? This is important to learn. This will be on the final. There'll be one of these decimal ones. And it's not always easy. Yes, the entire thing. All 40 questions. Double test. All no open-ended ones. In other words, yeah. So what's A? 1. B is 6. C is negative 2. So negative B plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Stuff them in there. So negative b, negative 6, plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. We good there, and then that's negative 6 plus or minus square root of 36 plus 8. You guys get plus 8 down there? It's plus 8, right? Right, because the two negatives, negative 4, negative 2, make plus 8. Right? Count your negatives. Two negatives is always positive, right? So coming up here, that's negative 6 plus or minus square root of, what's that there? 44 over 2. Now, yeah, we can simplify that 44, right? What do you do with that root 44? Actually, you know what? Hold on for a second. This one, they just want a decimal. See right here? 10th. So I'm not even going to simplify that root 4. They just want a decimal. They just want me to hit the buttons on my calculator. See, round to the 10th. So the other ones, I know it might be confusing for you. The other ones, let me show you what the other one said. The other one said, give an exact answer, use a radical, a root. That means a root. So you see the difference? Yeah, you know which way they want you to go. The ones that say, give me a radical, like that fraction one we just did, right? We gave them a root answer. Use a radical. Give me a root answer they want. And if you're ever unsure, just click show me how, question help, show me an example, jump to the bottom, you'll see the form. They want a decimal, they want this, you know, they're telling you. We want a radical. On that one they wanted a radical, a root. This one they're saying, we'd like a decimal, please. Give me the 10th place. So my point in all that is, I'm not going to simplify root 44, even though it could be simplified, and the fraction, and the Costco, and all. Who cares? Just hit the buttons on the calculator. We're not giving them a root answer anyway. So here we go. You guys understand that? Want to make what I'm saying? Why I'm not going to go further with that? I'm just going to go minus 6 plus root 44 over 2 and minus 6 minus. I've got to do the two different options, the plus and the minus. Hit the buttons on your calculator. Let me tell you what you should get. You should get, what is that going to be? This is going to be like 0.5 or 0.6 or something like that. This first one I can't exactly tell. Oh, it's not even 7. So it's not even, so it's 0.4. It's probably 0.4 or 0.3, actually. You guys getting like 0.4 or 0.3 over here? 0.3? What comes after? I know we're rounding to one spot, but what is 0.3? 0.316, and then you round that to 0.3. Y'all getting that okay? If you hit the wrong button there, you will get like, what will you get? I don't know what you get. 3.5, get like 3.5. So you'll get like minus 2 point something if you do a certain thing wrong. Anybody getting minus 2? I want to help you with that. So you should get 0.3. Check it on your calculator. 0.316 for this first one. Minus 6 plus 2. Now if you're getting minus 2 something or other, what you've got to remember to do is you've got to hit equals when you're done with the numerator. Now, what's hard right now is you've all got different calculators and there's different styles. Let me say this. If you have the nicer calculators, what I mean by that is the kind that show it as a fraction on your screen, that show it looks like a fraction, instead of just all being on one level, right? If you have those nice ones that look like a fraction, then don't worry about anything. Just type it in as it looks. Those are great. You'll get 0.3. You're probably having no problem at all. But for those that it's all on one level, you've got to remember to hit equals at the end of the root 44. Why? Because if you just type in minus 6 plus root 44 divided by 2, if you just type it in all on one level like that, it'll think only the root 44 is divided by 2. It'll think only the last thing is divided by 2. It doesn't know what's over the 2. So to tell it otherwise, you've got to hit equals when you're done with the minus 6 plus root 44. That way it'll compute the whole thing, then divide by the 2 after that, and you'll get the right answer. Y'all getting that? The 0.3? for that first one? One way or the other? Now, some people have the calculators that just give, don't change to decimal. You have any trouble changing them to decimal? There's a button on the different calculators. It's different buttons on different calculators. But yeah, for the natural display, it's the SD button, Casio Natural Display. For, anybody have that TI? My last class, a couple of the TI certain ones. You have any trouble getting the decimal? Or?
No, I figured it.
What, how'd you, it just does it automatically for you? Beautiful. Yeah, great. Yeah, okay, good. That sound good? So working it out. You guys okay? Getting that decimal? Well, anyway, come up after class. I get 10 seconds at the break. I'll be able to help you with that. Yeah, but any trouble, make sure you can though. There's one of these on the final tomorrow. I'm pretty sure if I remember right. I think there's one in the final where you got to get a decimal. How about that second one? This one should be minus 6 something, I think. Minus 6 point. What is it? Minus 6.3? Thank you. Minus 6.3 for the other one. So they want you to enter both, both of them with a comma. You able to get minus 6.3 on that one? Watch all your signs. Their negative is different than subtract. There's the negative is in parentheses. You know about that? For a negative 6. Right? On most calculators. Or some of them have a plus minus toggle switch. That's different than subtract on most calculators. Well, almost all calculators. The negative is different than the subtract. And they get real bent out of shape if you do the wrong one. Seems like they should be able to handle it either way. And the Casio Natural Display can. It's the only calculator I know that can handle it either way. It's fine. I am a representative of Casio. I get a little kickback when you buy that calculator. I'm just kidding. Sounds like it though, doesn't it? I could be a salesman for that company. They did a good job on that calculator. Good. Questions on that? Does that make sense? You able to get those decimals? I'm going to leave this section behind us. Okay. All right. So make sure you can do that.